Hey, so yesterday was one of those days that the enemy's voice decided to be louder than everything I knew, and just had a rough day. And we all had those days, right? Every single one of us, no matter how much faith you think you have or how devoted you think you are, we all have those days when the enemy's voice is very loud in our ears, and it takes us a moment to get our footing again. And I had one of those days yesterday. But I had a devotion that I wanted to do today. I don't know that I'll be able to do these every day. I wanted to, but life happens too. So if I don't get them out every day, I'll do them whenever I can. But today I wanted, Hebrews 12:2 has been on my mind, and I think it actually goes through, just 12:2. So I'm going to actually start at verse 1 because it follows into verse 2. It says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up, and lets us run with endurance the race God has set before us. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith. Because of the joy awaiting him, he endured the cross, disregarding its shame. Now he is seated in the place of honor beside God's throne." So there's a few things that come to mind as I read through this. Number one, that we do have a huge crowd of witnesses that have gone before us, those who have blazed the trails and are cheering us on. And it says to strip off every weight that slows us down. So just like yesterday, the enemy came in and tried to put weight on, and he slowed me down for a day and made me believe that the things I was doing for God were worth nothing, and that no one really cared, and that I had nothing valuable to say. And he does this in many different ways. But there's also weights of sin, things that we allow in our life that will hinder our relationship with God, hinder our relationship with those around us, will hinder our walk. And it's always good to evaluate with God. Ask God, are there things in my life that are hindering my relationship with you and my call and my walk that you have for me? And if there are, then ask him to forgive you and go on and let him help you through those things. Throw those things off. And then it says to run the race with endurance that God has set before you. And one thing there is, don't try to run someone else's race. If it's not something that God's called you to, don't try to do it. Don't try to compare yourself to others who are doing the similar things that you are doing, because no one has your story, and no one can tell your story like you can tell your story. Everyone has a story, but no one has your story. And even if, let's say that you feel God has called you to help drug addicts, and there's someone else who feels God has called to help drug addicts, don't compare yourself, and don't try to run someone else's race, because it will weigh you down. It will hinder you. It will cause you to always question if what you're doing is valuable, if you're even needed. But what you have to offer and what God has placed inside of you is totally different than what the other person has to offer and what God has placed inside of them. So never compare yourself, and never try to run someone else's race, because you will end up wearing yourself out. You won't finish the race. It says to finish it with endurance. That means we have to go the long haul. And then it says we do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith. So we keep our eyes on Jesus. Keep your gaze set on him. Behold the cross, because that's where it all pivots. That's what it's all about. He is the center of everything. He is our anchor. He is our healer. He is our friend. He is everything. He is the author and the finisher of our faith. So you do not have faith without Jesus giving you faith. And he is the one who initiates that faith. He's the one who begins that journey, and he will be the one who ends that journey. He already knows. He's seen the end from the beginning, and he helps you. He initiates and he perfects our faith. So keep our eyes gazing on him at all times, because he is the ultimate focus. He is the ultimate object that we are to focus on. When we read our Bible, and do anything that in the Christian life, it is always pointing us to Jesus. The Old Testament points to Jesus. The New Testament points to Jesus. He is the middle ground. He is the hinge, the pivot, where everything pivots. Beholding the cross. And it says that he endured the cross, disregarding its shame, because of the joy that was set before him. And what I want you to know is that you are that joy. You are the joy that was set before Jesus. When he gazed across the generations and he saw your face, he stayed on that cross for you. You were the joy that was set before him. He endured it all because he loves you and he wanted relationship with you. If you don't know Jesus, I pray that you would allow him to come into your life. I can't tell you that everything's going to change in one day and everything's going to be perfect the moment you do it. But I will tell you this, you will have a helper, a comforter, a healer, a friend who will never leave you alone, who will never reject you or abandon you or walk away from you, no matter what you do or where you go or what you look like. He will never walk away. You were the joy that was set before him, and he loves you. And this also helps us in our journeys, in our storms, that as we endure things that are heavy and hard for us, we can look past the storm to the other side. And there is joy as we see the other side, that even if it is the last day of your life, when you look past the pain to heaven, we can have joy. But in the midst of every storm, there is a time when the light is going to shine again, when the clouds are going to clear. And we need to look to those days. Look to the promises that God has given you in the middle of the storm, and let those be the thing that you focus on. Let Jesus, his love, his grace, his mercy, his cross be that pivot point for you in the midst of your storm, and let his promises be those things that you say, I can have joy in the midst of this thing. I can endure it because there is something good coming. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you later. Also, remember, today was Wednesdays at the Well, so the video is posted when you get a chance to watch.